Look, I got it right this time.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yes, yes. I got it. Like I'm like patting myself on the back. I was
Come
like,
on, pat yourself. No, no, you
somebody got to
didn't.
pat us. Somebody got to pat us, right? Ooh, it's bending my lash. Hold on. Let me lift
Oh,
it up. Lift it up. Let's lift it up.
wait, you need to put. Wait, this way. No, you need to put that piece.
This one. This
Yeah,
this
just
this
kind
one.
of. Yes. Go.
Just like bring it up a little bit. Look.
So yeah. So this
Okay.
one. Yeah.
So, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hi
Hey
everybody. Hola.
y'all.
It is. It is. It is. What is it? It's Friday.
It's Friday. Oh my gosh.
Just got. I was gonna say just got paid and all that stuff like the song, but nah, it
Nah.
doesn't work that way.
But it's Friday. What's
Just
her on Instagram?
thou
What's
shalt not
her name?
try me. Thou shalt not try
Don't do
me.
it. Don't do it.
Thou shalt not try me. Renee! I get hyped for Fridays. Like Fridays, I feel like that's when I get to come kick it with
Yeah,
my family. Like we get to have those real conversations.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
today, it is all about an opinion.
Yep.
You know, it is really. I'm so glad we're having this conversation. And I'm so glad we're having this conversation today with the kind of day America has been having.
Um,
Ah, so before we get into our topic for today, everyone is saying they love the t-shirt. I
thank
actually love it
you.
too. And so I am hoping that I can get a shirt at some point. You gotta tell me where you got it from.
Yes. So my friend Tashara um makes t-shirts. She's the owner of the Brave Box. And I'll get to tell you a little. I'll tell you a little bit more about the Brave boxes and stuff like that a little later on in the season. But she made the shirt for me, and I know she's still taking orders. So let me know if you want a shirt. I'm gonna get you one.
Oh, okay. Well, yes. Yes, yes. I definitely want a shirt. I also want to have just a little grace so I can add a cuss word at the end. No, I'm playing. Be like, thou shalt not come, thou shalt not try me. Like we gotta have that last word on the end.
Listen, what's that thing? Try Jesus.
Oh
Don't
yes.
try
Try,
me. Oh my gosh,
don't
that
try me.
song. Did you catch these hands? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Catch these
We
hands.
talk about catching hands, like, and I'm not gonna even hold you. I'm not really a fighter. I'm not
You
really
catch
a
these
fighter.
words.
I will do right. I am. I remember when my brother was alive. I was in my 20s. I had been selling drugs and doing a couple of other things. And you remember Les, and you remember he was kind of
Yes.
he was the polar of me being a Virgo. His birthday was September 12th. Mine was 13th. But he was like blunt with everything that came out of his mouth. And I was trying to be Big Willie gangster. And he looked at me and he was like, Kia, there's nothing you're going to do in someone's prison but teach a GED class.
Oh. Wow.
Yo, you
Lord.
hurt my feelings. He made me feel like a punk. He was like, nothing you gonna do but teach a GED class. So
Listen,
stop.
GED is important.
But he would just let me know I wouldn't be able to handle the ground. And I already know I can't handle nobody's prison grounds. I barely
Oh,
wanted to be locked up in the house. And I'm an introvert and like to be in the house, but I don't like to be forced to be
listen,
in the house.
I'm not made for prison. I'm very clear that if it ever happened, won't be no need to come try to jump me in where's she at? Where's she at? What do you need? You need me to sew some socks? cook you some oodles and noodles, make you some rice. What do you need? Because
Did you
yeah,
say cook you some oodles and noodles?
yep.
Do you still say? I don't even say oodles and noodles anymore. I
Oh, I'm
tried to
sorry.
be.
Grown
I
up ramen
yes,
noodles.
ramen. Well, wait. So one day, she was gonna kill me, right? Because she loves ramen and I love ramen too. Like real talk, right? And so she, you know how they have the chicken flavor, the
Yes.
regular chicken flavor. So I was sitting at the table and I was picking everything, but I was looking for spicy chili, roasted chicken, stuff with whatever. She was like, "Why don't you ever eat the chicken packets?" I was like, "The chicken ones." I said, "Cause they just taste poor. They just, they just taste like they don't have
I
any flavor."
I'm looking at
So
this bushy ass here. Listen, talking about it tastes poor. I thought I was bad.
it tastes poor. Can we get a consensus
Family,
in the room? It tastes poor, but
family.
I needed to do something. I gotta add like, oh gosh, I wasn't supposed to start crying up yet. I just they ain't even set right. Right. But I was saying
I
Monica
have no
said they
life
have
in
no life in them. They just like there. You have to, hey Raymond,
it.
you just have to add like so much. You gotta add pep. You have to start adding stuff that don't even make sense. You start adding cumin. You start
Family.
adding
I need
Lowry
y'all to
seasoning salt. Like it just you start adding stuff you ain't got no business adding to it just to give it something.
I need y'all to pray and chant, set a smoke, do whatever you can, and just send some energy in this way. It tastes poor. I thought I was bad.
I can't. I can't do it.
I'm
I
learning some
can't
new
do
things
it.
about Renair.
Oh my gosh.
At
Yes,
20
you learn
years.
something. Yes, you learn something new about me all the time. If I ever come to your house, find a flavor. Find a flavor. Do not do the regular chicken. But
I'm
so how are you today?
okay. I'm much better now. I'm much better
Oh,
now. I think I'm allergic to outside. I had to go outside yesterday and I came back and I'm just like, I'm feeling all sniffly and allergy ish. I'm like, I'm allergic to outside. That means probably means I need to go outside a little bit more. Uh, but
wait. Hold on. Hold on. You went outside and came back in coffee head, stuffy fever so you could rest medicine. And you going to say maybe you need to go outside more.
to build up my resistance. Why do I
Resist.
hear myself echoing?
I don't know. I didn't
Did you
hear.
change
I
something?
I was laughing too hard to change anything.
I was fine.
I haven't touched
Family,
the thing.
am I echoing? I'm gonna wait because it takes
They'll
20
tell us
seconds.
because we're on a 12-second delay.
Oh,
But
12? I thought it was 20.
it's not. I counted.
So let's pause.
No, we don't got to pause. Just keep talking. They'll let us know when they. What is going on today? Do I feel like I need to? You're the IT expert. They said, yeah. They said, yeah.
You
So
changed something.
I did not change anything, but what I
Oh,
can do is I'll go out and come back in. I don't want you to go out because I got a screen, so I don't want I don't want to look like you at the drive-in. You got a whole background, so I'm gonna bounce out and I'm gonna come back in and see if it comes back.
okay. All
So
right. It's still there? Man.
I just feel like sometimes the technology just waits for us.
Oh, it was fine.
So yeah, I'm not sure how you want to handle it. If you do want to bounce out and come back in, just so everybody know I'm sitting in front of a screen. So if you feel like you at the AMC set theater, just know that that's what that's what happens over here
All
at
right. Well,
Pink Love Headquarters.
put me
So
out and bring.
it just looks like I'm sitting in the alley. Oh, the love alley. It's still there. Oh, and you're muted now. So
I
in
was
your
not ready.
Oh, was I supposed to watch for a signal? See,
I
this is
can't hear you
why
now. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. So
All
we're
right,
going to
let
bounce
me
me out.
fix
Oh,
my
don't move.
speaker.
Don't move. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
See, we're great. Woo! So back to what we were talking about. How are you feeling?
I'm fine. I need to be. All right, I'm sorry. I'm trying to make sure that because I feel like I still hear myself.
Well, I don't hear you echoing, and now we're starting to be on the episode of BT Follies. So can we get people like, dang it, check out. But I think we're good.
All right.
Oh, they just said they didn't even know how we
Yes. Come
before.
on.
We've
Yeah,
been
that's mine
laughing. So
was a
let's
jump
just
right in
jump
it.
into it. Let's jump right in it. Down
Yes.
in the chat room, the word has shown up. Today we are talking about opinions, and opinions are like assholes.
Everybody got one.
Everyone has one.
Yes.
They
Yep.
got us all the way together. They said, y'all talking too much. Let's talk about opinions. Let's talk about opinions.
All right.
Tell
Kick it
me,
on.
that's what I was going to do. I was going to pass it to you.
Mhm.
Tell me about opinions.
They're like assholes.
Why? Wow. That was such an
Such
original thought.
wisdom. Yeah. So opinions. We talk a lot. Well, you and I, of course, about how things that people say um, uh, affect us and have affected us, right? Have impacted how we show up in
Mm-hmm.
the world, right? And no matter how much work we have done, like that inner work that we have done, there's still times where things happen where we hear the opinion, right?
Right.
We hear it in our minds. It plays back, like this broken record in our heads of something that somebody said, solicited or unsolicited, right? Because we also
Mm-hmm.
talked about that there being a difference between a solicited and unsolicited opinion. Um, but those things kind of plague us. They follow us, and it's not an easy thing to shake off, because when you know the power of words, and if you really go to you know the biblical text, death and life is in the power of the tongue. That's literally true. So when you air an opinion, right, or when somebody says their opinion to you, it has an impact because words have power.
Yes.
And so we have to get to a place where we really don't care about other people's opinions. And I think that the older I've gotten, the better I've become at not giving an F, right? What other people think. Um, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm in sharing mode right now. If you want to talk, and then we'll back
No,
to
I'm
sharing.
listening. I mean, you know.
So the one of the things that I did intentionally for today's show was put my nose ring in. Now I had a nose, my nose was already pierced, so I had a little stud. But based on other people's opinions on how I should show up as a minister, as a reverend, now as a pastor, it took me years to build up the courage to switch up my nose ring. I had it. I had the thing sitting here. It was in a little packet. Where is it? It's in a little packet. It was just sitting here. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. But playing in my head were those opinions that I should show up and look a certain way because I'm, because I'm a pastor. And so it was so liberating, even though it's weird to me because I've never seen myself with an actual ring like this outside of when I was just like in my 20s and it wasn't really like a real nose ring. Um, so I'm 50 now. Of course, I'll be 51 in November. So it was so liberating to me to be able to do this.
And it's
And
cute.
thank you, thank you.
It's
Um,
cute. I told you giving me white girl butch.
Come on, white girl.
Maury. Hi, Maury. Hi,
The
Maury.
other, yeah, the other thing about opinions, in relation to my lived experience, is I talked to you, Renair, about my baldy. Right, I was really looking for my shirt that said baldy on it because it lent itself to our conversation today. For the longest time, when I started, if you know me from way back when, Renee, you know me, there's some of you that know me from back in the day, from like in the 90s and early 2000s. I rock natural hair, and I grew out my locks, right? Had locks for the longest time, like in the early to late part of the, when did I cut my locks? 2008, 2009, around there somewhere. Um, I started losing my hair. And I was so stuck on or bound by the opinion that has gone on through the ages that women should have hair. Now, I know it says it. I'm going to talk about the Bible. Gotta be, it's my lived experience. Woman's hair is a crown and glory, right? And so a woman's hair is what makes her feminine, uh, what makes her a woman. And so, because I was so like held hostage by these words and these things that I heard and things I've heard, things that people have said to me, I could not. Thank you, Monica. I could not accept my alopecia. I just couldn't accept it. I started when I cut my locks for the first time. I just broke down in tears, right? Because it's just like I was losing my womanhood. I was losing my femininity.
Mm-hmm.
I was losing the thing that made me me, right? I was losing my identity. Um, and so for years afterwards, and again, yeah, those of you who know me for a good amount of time, like I would ride. I should have sent you the thing to put up all of these hairstyles, right? I rocked wigs all the time, and it was a source of anxiety for me every time I had to go. Every time it was time to change my wig, it was a major source of. I mean, I would break down. I would cry inside of the beauty store or the wig shop because I was so afraid of what people would think about me if they saw my balding head. At that point, I had shaved off everything, and it was so bad that I was so fearful of what other people would think about my balding head. Even though I knew people that rocked a baldy and looked so beautiful, but I was so held hostage by it that I would like there's a wig cap, there's like a net, and I would tie it so tightly onto my head and like pin my wig onto it so that it wouldn't budge. Right? So fearful of my wig coming off that and doing that over a period of time, over a couple of years, I actually misshapen my head. Right? I damaged myself. I changed the shape of my head because of uh, I was so fearful of what other people would think, right? So fearful of those words and those opinions that I hurt myself. And I can't tell you how grateful I am that I finally was able to get free. That a couple years back on Christmas Eve, I'm not doing it no more. And It was it. And now if I rock a wig, I rock it because I feel like it. I rock it because it's cold outside, right? I rock it because I want a different type of look. Uh, I don't do it because I'm bound by what somebody else thinks about women with balding heads or women with a bald head. So, so yeah. So all of that to talk about how opinions can really impact one's life and how they show up in the world.
I mean, I get it. But differently, and you are beautiful. And so let me make that notation. But I remember when you made that decision, and I
Mhm.
remember how that showed up for you. And I remember not being able to say anything because I knew in my heart that if the shoe had been on the other foot, I wouldn't want to hear it.
Mhm.
So all I
Mhm.
could do was be there.
Mhm.
You know, I am uber self-conscious about my forehead,
Mhm.
to the point that when I go get my locks done, Victoria already knows that no matter what that style looks like, we need to be figuring out a way to cover my forehead.
Mhm.
And the deeper part of that is it wasn't just my forehead, it's my whole face. It's
Mhm.
my whole face. I have growing up, I was massively made fun of because of my lips.
Mhm.
Everything that you think someone could say about the one we used to call it busting. Now they call it roasting. But you remember, like, oh, he bust on you, he gonna bust on you.
Mhm. Mhm.
Bust, not bust, but bust. Um, the one bust that I remember someone saying to me in the middle of the class. I mean, it was like they were getting their dozens in. We were going for it, and they said, "You look like one of them baby on board signs. Like they could just take you and slap you against the window by your lip, and you would just hang
What?
there." And in that moment, everybody was like, "Oh!" And I was like, "Wow!" But I internally, like, every piece of me was like, crack, 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 crack. Like, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I began to try to do things to hide my lips, like figure out how to hold my mouth so that my lips look small. I would never, if I wore a lipstick, it had to be like dark, dark, mud, dirt, brown, something that just didn't bring attention, or that generic church mother color that's like like listen, Monica, I had already fought one of the guys because I had said something about him in a roast, and he went off on me. We were out in the hallway fighting in a Christian school, calling each other a whole bunch of MFers, having all the Christian teachers run out with their Bibles and stuff, trying to get us under control. So no, because we were having fun, but he just hit real low with with his joke that I couldn't say anything. And so being that I was already, my mom, God rest her soul, she had, and I think I talked about this before, she was really big on how we appear, really big on your first impression, your first appearance, that I would be paranoid with everything I wore. If someone even remotely looked at me and I thought they were looking at me in a negative way, I went in the house and changed.
Right.
I went in the house and changed. I would change 4 or 5 times a day
Wow.
until I felt safe enough that someone wasn't looking at me, judging me.
Wow.
So even little small quips like, "Oh, you wore that," or back then I was like thin, so they used to jokingly call me Minute Bowl because they said I ain't have no nothing. I was just late. Like these are all kind of things that were said to me growing up. So
Yeah.
today, 20 something years later, I have been working massively hard
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
to get myself out of that because that was still affecting me.
Yeah.
If someone would make one comment, I would have to track down 5 or 6 people to tell me if the other person's comment was valid.
Wow.
Do you think this looks too tight? Do you think I shouldn't have wore this? I still do it. I just do it with people I trust.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hard to undo what happens when you were put into this place where people's opinion, um, matters.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
And happiness is not caring what people or others think
Yeah.
about you. And Monica said that she went from a 24 to 12, 14, and
Mhm.
very conscious about what she wears. And that's what people don't realize. It's the small stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
It's the small stuff that you say in, like, I no longer comment on people's size when I see them unless I know that they were going for a particular goal. Whether
Hmm.
they were going to gain weight, because I have friends that, are thin and they try to gain weight, or they were looking to lose weight. I never automatically comment on people's weight,
Hmm.
because that comment, like, oh my God, girl, you done put on a couple pounds, could have a person at home like
Oh yes. Oh my goodness.
not eating for 3 days.
And so I want to and I guess for those of you who are watching, family, what are some of the things, because we all have them, right? Like, as I said earlier, we talked about, no matter how much work you have done, there's still something, or maybe some things that you are still bound by in terms of how other people think, other people's opinions of you. Uh, and we talk a lot about our bodies and our appearance, right? I mean, because aesthetics, yeah, this is a society that is all really concerned about looks and how and how we show up and present ourselves, and many of us, uh, just like your family, Renair, um, your mom was very much. This is how you have to look. uh, this is how you have. This is how you have to dress. Um, and some of those things we shed as we go older, as we get older, but some of them we really really hold on to. So I'm interested to hear some of the things from our watchers today that you might be holding on to based on somebody else's opinion.
Right. And sometimes it's not appearance. It's also,
Right.
you ever have someone comment about the way, like, I have a lisp. Boom.
Mhm.
I have a lisp. And oftentimes people do, and I'm gonna call, I call stuff and shit.
Yeah.
People do shit, like, do like a Mike Tyson voice when talking to me,
Hmm.
or they be like, or Sylvester the cat, and they
Hmm.
laugh, and I'm looking at them like, what's funny? Like, but people do stuff jokingly.
Yeah.
Monica said that she doesn't like to be without her makeup, not because she's ugly, um, when she doesn't
Oh,
have any on, but people like, oh my God, you're not wearing makeup. And I think,
I have that same thing. Jesus.
like, I don't know if people are voicing their reaction. Like, it's such a, I know sometimes the stuff that people say to me, they don't mean any harm,
Right.
but they don't know what that may mean
Yes.
in context. So it's such a gray area. It's such a gray area. And so, Monica, I'm sorry that you experienced that. I mean, the sad part is, and let me be truly transparent, your makeup is beast. So
Child,
I
listen.
probably I probably would do the same thing unintentionally. Would see
Mm,
you like, oh my God, oh, you ain't wearing any makeup, and not think anything of it, because it just sometimes you're commenting on the difference in the person. Like when I wear makeup or when I wear lashes, the
mhm.
opposite way. And I think that it's important sometimes for people to, I don't even know if you can wait. Like not everything needs to be pointed out. You don't see me in makeup, just keep talking.
Yeah.
It's still me.
It's still me. It's still me.
So and I'd be interested to hear other people too. It's just it can even be stuff around your personality.
Yeah.
The one thing it is, this is my biggest pet peeve. I promise you, it will have me internally go from 0 to 60. I totally dislike when I share something with someone and I've decided to either reconnect with that person or not connect with them but forgive them. And somebody says they give this opinion to me, uh, better you than me. And I just be like, fuck that mean. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
Listen, I know I've done that. We've said that to each other.
like, oh my gosh, it's a hard place because relationships. In relationships, that's what we do. We give our
Yeah,
opinion. So
yeah,
this
yeah.
goes back to the conversation of solicited versus
Absolutely.
unsolicited input.
Right, right, right.
So I think my reaction changes
Mm,
depending on my relationship with you.
right, 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 right. And whether you ask for the opinion, right? So I feel like I'm hearing myself again. But um, when we share, or when someone shares something with us, our job is to listen. The thing is, we listen to make a comment or to offer our advice and unless the individual has specifically asked you for it, just hold the space. Just hold the space and allow them to talk and wait to see if they are asked, if they say, "What do you think?" Then you can respond, right?
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
we do that with each other, particularly, especially people um, that we are in close relationship with,
Hmm.
and even and those if we are kind of uh, in the realm of service where we are offering pastoral care or some type of counseling and stuff like that. That's why we got to get trained because sometimes they just need the space held. They
Right.
just want to talk it out, and so we have to stop uh, listening to respond, right? And I think doing more hearing or than listening, if that makes sense. Uh, yeah.
Yeah. I actually think
Where
it's
the people's at? Where the people's?
well,
Monica, you holding us down. You holding us down today.
yeah, they watching though, because I mean, when you start talking about being vulnerable to people's opinion, I almost envy. Like I have friends that really don't give a rat's tail. They don't
Yeah,
care. And
yeah.
matter of fact, I take that back. I don't envy them. I actually admire them.
Mm-mm.
I do. I do, because I think that it takes a certain level of confidence. It takes a certain level of security to be
Yeah,
able to disregard those, and some of it's not even mean opinions.
right.
They're just not appropriate.
Mm.
It's just like it's really none of your business. So, like for instance, let's talk about a relationship. You're in a relationship with someone, your friend is in a relationship with someone and you don't like them. They don't need to hear all the time that you don't like them.
Right.
9 times out of 10, if they're your friend, they know you don't like them. They know you don't like them.
Right.
And I mean, I get it. Sometimes we check in and go, I don't like them, right? So, you tell me the wrong thing. I don't like them, right? But
Right.
at the same time, there's a space where, as my friend, regardless of whether I like them, I love you.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't need to tell you my opinion about them every time we talk. All I got to do
Right.
is be present for you when we
Yes.
do speak and honor and hold space. Honor and hold space. But
Hmm.
because we want to
Yes.
let them know how we feel. And so that's like right now, let's look at today. Like let's be real, because we walk heavy. So we talk about stuff that is really happening.
Right.
When you look at what's happening today, I think I posted a post about I'm not going to be distracted. I'm not going to get
Yes.
caught up in all this stuff. And then I posted the second post and I talked about this. Um, so you had group A over here, right?
Mhm.
They were totally for the government. You had group B over here that had
Mhm.
decided that's nonsense. I'm not for the government.
Right.
The more things have started to happen, the larger group B has started to grow.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm.
But
Mhm.
guess what? Today, group B is divided
Right.
because you got half of group B that's like, well, pray for the man. We don't wish anything on anybody, blah, blah, blah. And you got the other half over here that's like, fuck 'em. And so
And they're like singing each other.
now they are going at it.
Oh,
And there's a group of people in the middle that's going like, I don't even know what to do.
right. Right. Right.
We
Right.
see you over there on YouTube, Pam. Hey, hey,
Yay!
hey.
Hey, sis. How are you?
But you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's now everybody has an opinion. I have
Right.
opinion, but
Yeah.
I don't want to say I don't care. And we'll probably talk about this more on the one we talk about politics.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't care. I just have other things to invest my
Mm-hmm.
input on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm watching, I'm listening, I'm hearing.
You don't always got to say something. Sometimes you just got to practice to be silent. Just be quiet.
Right.
Nobody needs to hear everything, every one of your opinions, right? And if you need every one of your opinions heard, write a book. Because I just, you really don't have to speak on everything, and it's okay. And so then that also lends itself um to like when you are like a leader or a public figure, right? People know about you and they're waiting. Well, how come so didn't say anything about this? There's something, so it's something wrong, or you are not doing your job or your due diligence for the community because you have not spoken up about it. You
Right.
haven't posted about it. You haven't, child.
And so that leaves us to say, like the image I just put up about the greatest prison.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
do we break out of this prison? Like, what can we do to help ourselves not be bound by the opinion of people that, at the end of the day, most of the people that are giving us opinions, because there's a that are negative,
mhm,
we have to look at some things before we
mhm,
take what they say to heart,
yeah,
whether they're solicited, unsolicited, whether we know them or we don't.
yeah.
There are certain things that we need to keep in mind. So, as you know, I want to take a second so you can have some time to talk about your tip.
It's not. It's them. Yes. Well, it's not you. It's them. Um,
Right.
when it comes to other people's opinions, particularly negative ones, and particularly the unsolicited ones, or even the solicited ones that turns out to be a negative one, right? Um, they are coming from their own lived experience. They're coming from
Right.
their social location, right? They are coming from their own hang-ups, inadequacies, and all of that. They're coming from their own lived experience. Sometimes what we do is we have an opinion about things, and we kind of throw off on other people because we have not yet handled or taken care of or worked through or you know certain things, right? And so when somebody gives you an opinion, and particularly a negative one or a hurtful one, it's something that you need to remember. It's them. It is them, not you. Remember what show was it that I talked about my dad?
Um.
And
Oh, last season. Yes.
yeah, last season I talked about my father, uh, you know, and I solicited his opinion, right? I wanted him, I wanted to hear words from him, words of edification, words of encouragement, words of pride, right? I want him to be proud of me. And so, him just kind of talking about my writing, uh, I carried that, right? And it's just like that, right? It was him. He was talking from his place of being illiterate and not being able to read, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so it's the same thing when people offer their opinion. They're coming from their own lived experience, own social location. Um, and so it has no bearing on you, even though it feels that way, right? Because when people give their opinion, we are automatically go inward, right? We go inward, we look at ourselves, we kind of judge ourselves. Some of us, kind of feel shame about things. We immediately go inward and we almost begin attacking our own selves based on what somebody else has said. But it's not
Mm-hmm.
you. It is not you. It is not you. It is them. And leave it with them. Do not take it. Don't put it in your bag and walk off with it. You leave it right there. Leave it right there. Right? I'm like, okay, okay. You don't even have to say that you disagree or that there's no argument. You have to learn not to argue, right? Sometimes the first our first inclination is to defend ourselves, particularly when it's
Right.
a negative opinion, right? What
But
Beyonce
there's
said,
nothing to defend.
there's nothing to defend. There's nothing to defend. Leave it with them. Don't take it up because sometimes it's bait. Sometimes it's bait for you to kind of pick it up. So sometimes it's done intentionally for to pull a certain type of response from you. Leave it with
Right.
them. So that's why um, I say it's them. It's them. It's not you.
And then you also the thing about it being them and it not being you is it kind of then leads to my tip a little bit, which is consider the source.
Yeah.
When we're talking about taking in people's opinions, the first thing I do is I check the source.
Yeah.
And then my response will be either one of two things. Because
Do it
I'm
again,
now
Renee. I
going
don't think
to
it's so. Did you see the eyelashes?
like that's this is real because I'm trying to gauge how far in my bag I'm about to go in the response.
Uh, uh,
Because I might be getting ready to have to pull out the guns in my response to you.
Right.
Or if I know that you really came from a loving place, I might be a little bit more graceful
Yes.
in how I respond.
Mhm.
So that's one. The other part of considering the source is, were you trying to were you trying to help me? Because an opinion is, it can be like really double edged. If you see me in a skirt, right, and that thing is split all the way up in the back where you can see my whole DNA chart, then if I walk in the room and you're like, well, that skirt's a little short for you,
Mhm.
I might hear that differently if you now telling me that my skirt then rolls all the way up and my hoo ha and everything else is out.
Right, right, right.
But if you turn to me and go, oh, that skirt is a little bit short for you, and I know that it's not in your style to even remotely wear a short skirt, then you can't tell me how short my skirt is. Because my
Right,
skirt could be to the back of my calves, and that might be too short for you.
right, 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 right.
Like I will in my brain, I do a lot in this little brain very quickly. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like the Terminator, and I'm like doop, 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 numbers and graphs and stuff pop up in front of my face. I do a lot because what I'm clear on is once something flies out my mouth, I can't take it back.
Mhm.
And so if you are trying to assist me, even though I may not like the delivery, I might be like, well, she meant no harm. Now,
Yeah.
this goes back to me considering the source in your relationship to me. I don't care how much you're trying to help me. If I know you don't like me and you in the middle of a room turn around, go, oh, that skirt just a little bit too short for you, it's on.
Mm.
It's on. Because now every time I walk past you, I'm gonna bend over. I'm gonna pick up something. I'm gonna do something so now you can look at my short skirt. Like I'm not always redeemed. So I think that when we I'm get on your nerves, like I'm gonna do like Tyra Banks past you every time I turn around. I just think that there is I really, like I said earlier, I really look up to people that are unaffected by what people
Yeah.
say, because
Yes.
there's a freedom in that. There's a freedom
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
in that. This was your favorite quote. I want you to read it because this quote really spoke to you last night.
Yeah. It's So it's by Steve Jobs back from 2005. It says, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's."
Right there. That right there.
Wait, you can't see it because it was attached to something, but I sure got the tambourine. Which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Not the people's thinking, but the results of their Jesus, the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary.
Yes, Steve Jobs really um he really hit the nail on the head with this. And I think now in my 45th year,
Mhm.
I think I get it.
Mhm.
Like now I remember putting a post on Facebook. I said, I'm come I everything is different for me. I don't know what you may see. I don't know what I may look like one week I come in. I might come in here with Angelica from Rugrat, little braids shooting out my head. Like I'm trying stuff. You know why? Because I didn't.
Right, right,
I didn't.
right.
Because every time I did, I would hear later,
Hmm.
oh, they were
Mm.
talking about you. Oh,
Yeah.
they said you looked a hot mess, or this, that,
Mhm.
and the third. And then I'm home crying. And I won't ever wear that again. Ever. So now I don't have, that's not my story today. But yeah, listen, I may come, y'all may be like in behind closed doors, like, girl, did you see what she did or what she had on, or how her makeup looked, and I'm gonna still be sitting here like,
Right, right. Because a lot of times you talked about courage, right? Um, that's oftentimes when someone gives you a negative opinion is because they lack the courage to do or to show up in the ways that you're showing up. They lack the courage, and sometimes they don't know that they're lacking the courage, right? They
right,
just know they just have this negative thing, this thing that rises up in them. They must say something negative about it, but it's really about their own inability to see themselves living fully, and living in their fullness. And that's the other thing about working, doing the work so that you can ignore other people's opinions. Because when you are able to do that, you are able to be fully who you are and all of what comes with you, and you're able to live fully authentically, right?
mm-hmm.
And I always tell the, the young people, I always tell young adults, that it honors the divine when you live in your fully authentic self.
That's right.
You are not created to live as somebody else, live somebody else's life, live somebody else's story, right? You
Mm-hmm.
have your own story, you have your own life, and you honor the divine when you show up fully authentic, when you don't leave any parts of yourself out, when you don't fracture yourself, because you're worried about what somebody's going to say, what somebody's going to do. No, no, you know bring all the parts. Right, bring all of your parts, right? And
Mm-hmm.
who cares if people don't like it or can't get with it, right? Maybe you showing up in your fully authentic self can help somebody else that's struggling.
Well, how
And
about
say,
this? It
if you're
helps
doing it,
you.
yes, it helps you. But I'm
It
saying,
helps
but as you
you.
help, yeah, as you help yourself, you other people, like people watch. We are all people watchers,
Absolutely.
right? And
Absolutely.
so you're living, stepping into your authentic self, showing up as who you are and who you created to be,
Mm-hmm.
right? Walking heavy on the earth, right? Enable somebody else to say, you know what? If they can do it, I can do it. One of the and she's not. I don't know if she's watching. Kalita.
Yeah.
I would look at Kalita and her bald head, and I was just like, oh my God, she's so beautiful. It's just um, and I don't think I've ever said to her that me watching her helped me, right?
Mm-hmm.
To not care about what other people would think about my bald head. So thank you, Kalita. I don't know if you're watching or if you're gonna catch it in the replay, but I had to shout you out. And so that is the power of walking in your authenticity, right? You bring other people with you, whether you know it or not.
Yeah. Yeah. And you do. And I was going to ask you what your final thought would be for today, but that sounds like
Yeah.
that a real final thought.
Mm-hmm.
I am. There are people that they have no idea that I watch how they show up. You know, Monica was on earlier, and you talked about Kalita, and there's some other people that are in my life that, in their freedom
Mm-hmm.
of being who they are, and not allowing, even if they may deal with it behind the scenes, but just walking in the power of who they are.
Yeah.
um they continuously helped me to attach to the part of the femininity that I when I was doing the first pageant. I was
Mm,
very nervous about doing that first pageant,
yeah.
and A lot of people don't know, and I also didn't know until maybe about a year ago or a few months ago, if that when I first was coming back into my feminine presenting,
Mm-hmm.
even though I had been doing it for um, many years ago, I didn't have all the stuff I used to have. So I
Mm-hmm.
was piecing together outfits. I was still trying to figure out where I fit on the non-binary scope, and people were talking about me.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about me to my then spouse,
Wow.
saying things to her about, and I'm trying not to get emotional because when I found out, it hurt
Yeah.
how I look like I was in drag, and how could she still love me when I didn't look good in what I was wearing, and that she
Wow.
should leave me because um, I was still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it is very hard for me to receive
Yeah.
compliments and things now from people about how I look or how I show up or things like that.
Yeah.
And I remember when her and I talked about how it made her feel to be, spoken to and then made to feel like, to be with someone who was going through their own transition. That's why I'm very
Yeah.
protective of my trans brothers and
Yeah.
sisters
Yeah.
and non-binary individuals when they are trying to find their place inside
Yeah.
of their transition or choice to not transition or whatever it is that they do. And I
Yeah.
wasn't always that way, but I absolutely am today, because what I understand is when someone is trying to find out what they love about themselves,
Yeah. Mm.
what they love about themselves, that you got to be very careful of the things that
Yeah.
you say about people, about how they look when they're trying to find
Yeah. Yeah.
their happiness. Now, child, but I still remember that time, and hearing those things, post marriage. See, here's the thing that people don't realize. And it's not to say that a relationship may not have problems and things like that on its own. But when you have a peanut gallery on the side, adding things,
Yeah. Yeah.
throwing fuel on things about their opinions, you
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know the real um, long term consequences to the things that you say.
Yes.
Because it could make someone feel like, oh, well, maybe I'm not supposed to love them this way.
Mm.
Maybe I'm
Mm.
not supposed to support them. Maybe I'm
Wow.
not supposed to walk in my femininity and my masculinity.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I
Yeah.
can't call myself a woman because my womanhood doesn't look like someone else's. When we begin to talk about people, their issues, their problems, their concerns, their appearance, and all of that other stuff, we have no idea what that person is internally trying to manage day to day. So that's my final thought. My final thought is, and I get it, we gossip, we see things, we talk about things, but I'm talking about when you now take what you think in here and give it to the person like it belongs to them.
Come on. Come on. Come on.
No, it belongs to you.
Belongs to you. Wow. Wow. Wow, sis.
Now I'm not gonna put that up on the screen,
No,
but I
we're not
see
gonna put
that.
that up, but we see it.
And that's real.
Wow.
And it make and statements like that will make a person question, am I even worthy of being loved? If I'm not
Yes.
worthy of
Jesus.
being picked, then I'm not worthy of being loved. I cannot be in the number.
Yeah. Wow.
So now I've lost friends who have thought that I didn't care about them, or they thought that I was not talking to them. But what it was most of the conversation that we were having was about someone else and someone else's business, and I could not participate in it anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
every time I would change the subject to something more empowering and something more uplifting, they would bring it back to somebody else's business.
Mm.
And I was like, I can't do that because I know what it's like to be the Wendy Williams hot topic, and it
Come
doesn't
on,
feel
come on,
good.
come on, come on, come on.
So I don't want to exhaust, I don't want to exert that type of energy and create that type of karma for myself because people going to talk anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just really my yeah my
God,
I'm
come
sorry
on.
I got ooh
I'm just I'm so honored. Some people know, like, I don't know if everybody knows just how long we've known each other. And so I just, I'm so honored to get to see, right, the journey and the transformation, right? Because you don't just transform one time,
you don't
right? As
you
long as you are breathing, as long as you're growing, right? Their transformation is constant, and so I'm grateful to 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 have been able to see and witness, your transformation. And I'm not just talking about the outer appearance, you know, because all of it is good. It's all good, right? But the inner, right? To be able um, to bear witness to this change, this transformation within is just, I consider myself really lucky to be able to walk with you as my sibling, you know, in this way. So
and I'm grateful
I
for
love
the
you.
same. I love you too. I love you. I really do, and I thank you for hearing. Because there is a place, and I'm going to allow us to start to close on this. There is
Mhm.
a place for your wonderful pit crew members that you can have those real vulnerable conversations. When I really want to know if something looks okay, I will call Sue. I will call Sue, or there's a couple other people that I'll pick up the phone and call because I feel safe. And if she goes, yeah, girl, you need to take a little bit of that off, or you need to maybe wear a different kind of shirt or whatever. I feel safe in hearing that, because when you're evolving, this is the thing. When you're growing, when you're evolving, when you're learning what you love, when you're learning who you are, when you're walking your level of authenticity
Yeah.
and constantly evolving, there are things that you don't know,
Yes.
and
Yes.
and you want to have the grace to ask questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before we came on here, I had on something. And I said, "What do you think about this?" And she was like, "Oh well, it looks like this." I was like, "Oh wait, let me go handle that." And but that's because I felt safe.
Yeah.
So I will offer to anyone who's watching, like, before you give your opinion to a person, ask yourself, are my words to heal or to hurt?
Come on. Whew.
If it's not to heal, keep your words.
Check your intention. Yeah.
Especially if you're not asked. If they ask you, then roll out the carpet, do, you look a hot ass mess, like, do what you.
Listen. If I look a hot ass mess, tell me.
Oh, but that's why
That's
we're
my
friends.
friend. Listen, because not everybody has that access.
Right. Oh, know
Not
that as
everybody has
your friend, I would. And I would say it like that, like, girl.
it. But we can do that. We could do that
Right.
with each other. Yeah.
So,
Love
whew,
y'all. Oh my gosh. Love you, sis.
love you,
Thank you
love
guys
you, love
so
you, love
much
you. Um,
for
to,
joining us
I
today.
got to do my, hold on, let me get my voice together. Let me do it.
Okay.
Today's show has been brought to you by Cara Solutions. Focus on your passion, let Cara handle the rest. And Pink Love Wellness, healing hearts to heal the world. We thank our sponsors for today. We thank them so much.
Thank you, sponsor. Thank you, Pickler.
And before we go, we do want to say if you are not doing anything tonight at 7 o'clock, you are
Yeah.
not going to want to miss
Yes.
In the Groove, hosted by Odu Adamu. The message tonight, the music that we will be talking about and going over is about the message, songs of protest, change, and liberation. And we have the special guest, Tony Award winner Dee Dee Bridgewater. I'm so excited about tonight. Tonight we are talking about songs. So if you don't know about In the Groove, make sure tonight at 7 o'clock. If you enjoy music,
Yeah.
that's a wonderful place for you to be tonight. Get your cocktail or your mocktail, and let's talk about songs
Yes.
of freedom.
Yes.
And that's tonight at 7 o'clock. I will always share from my page where you can find it. And we usually share from Walking Heavy for those that want to check it out, because Sue and I are both part of that amazing project. But you can
Yeah.
also find the Facebook group In the Groove. Is In the Groove thing, I think the actual
Yeah.
URL is.
Yeah. In the
Um,
group. Okay.
but it's a good time. So, Sue, before we walk on out of here, do you have anything that you want to say to the people?
No, just again, thank you guys so much for really supporting us from day one. I'm just so, uh, the way this came about, and we are so grateful. Speaking for both of us, for your support and for your love and for your encouragement, because literally when you show up, it encourages us to keep doing what we're doing, and so we love you so much. We hope that the things that we talk about are really helpful and that they're beneficial, that they do cause you to think, right? And even make some changes that you might need to make. Yeah, thank you for hanging with us. Thank you for walking heavy with us today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, like they say in church, I don't need to bring a message. The word has already been brought. I just want to tell everyone to keep on walking, and we'll see you next week right here at 4:30 on Friday.
Yes.
Be blessed.
Right.